Gentlemen, welcome along. How you doing?
All good. Fresh from Canada.
Amazing. Well, look,
when did you get back?
This morning. Yeah, it was good.
Hardcore.
Yeah, it was good. Aventar got me here. Didn't miss a beat.
Aventar.
Who owns that, I wonder?
Who owns Aventar?
I don't know. They just asked me to wear this T-shirt.
That's lovely.
Maybe I do.
You smell fresh. Otmar arrived and had a shower in the building.
I did.
I know, I saw on our little group chat, which is why I said there's too much information on this chat. Said, I've had a shower and I feel much better. I was like, what sort of fucking operation have I walked into here?
That's exactly what you said. And on that note, welcome along to another episode of High Performance Racing. We are going to talk about, of course, George and Kimi and the state of the championship. We're going to discuss exactly what McLaren were thinking and why they were thinking it in the Canadian Grand Prix. We're going to definitely talk about Lewis Hamilton. Is there anything else from the weekend that you really want to talk about that you haven't heard being discussed elsewhere that you want to bring to the table?
Yeah, let's see what happens as we go. Might be.
That's basically our approach to every show so far. Let's just see what happens. And
jump off that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Ask us some
talk
questions.
about something else, Bridge.
Okay, please make sure that you subscribe to High Performance Racing. Almost everyone that enjoys the show isn't subscribed. It really helps us if you can. Let's do it then. Welcome along to the latest episode of High Performance Racing as we review the Canadian Grand Prix. So we're now 3 days post-race. We saw an emotional George Russell at the end of the Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
What would you have both been saying to him in these intervening days, either as a team principal or as his race engineer, to try and get his head back in the game for the Monaco Grand Prix?
For me, George did nothing wrong all weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
And you just have to reiterate to George that he did everything correct that was in his control. And having a battery failure or a powertrain failure or a car failure is not in his control. And it could have easily happened to his teammate. And unfortunately, it happened to him. But yeah, he was on pole, leading the race. Who won the sprint race? George.
Yeah.
George, yeah.
Oh, it was the perfect weekend.
Perfect
sprint
weekend.
Pole,
Apart
won the
from
sprint race. Pole, led the race.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I was sitting watching in the Mercedes hospitality, and there was this, that was too close. And if you're a teammate or if you're part of the team, that's how you think. But for me, they didn't run into each other. It was good racing. George ended up winning it. It was all right. I mean, Kimi did go off a little bit.
So we had
Did some damage.
So I was in separate part of the paddock, and I sent Otmar a text, and I said that was a little bit close and a little bit naughty. And then we had one of our tete-a-tetes over text because I thought it was a bit naughty. He didn't give him any room. I mean, he should have given his teammate a bit more room. But then again, his teammate also shouldn't, like Kimi shouldn't expect the room. No. But going back to George, look, it's exactly what Otmar said. Like he didn't really put a foot wrong, and I would go one further. I don't think he was as quick as Kimi all weekend. I think that's the irony, but he got himself into a position where he had beat him in qualifying. He was going to beat him to all intents and purposes in both of the races if he hadn't have had the car failure. So I think in them situations, it's quite, he will have, by the time he landed back in Europe, his head would have been in gear anyway. He would have been disappointed with the result. But he would have, it's not like he's just been slow all weekend and can't like get on top of the car and can't get anywhere near his teammate.
No, he was quick. He was as quick, if not quicker. The thing that I was a little bit surprised about, and maybe I shouldn't have been, was how close Kimi was to him. I thought the gap was going to be a little bit bigger. So for me, going into Canada, there was two things I was looking for. Well, maybe more than two, but the two from Mercedes' perspective is how good was their upgrade? Remember, they brought their upgrade to Canada. And two, how close was it going to be between Kimi and George? And I thought George was going to be a little bit further ahead. They're really, really tight.
Yeah.
But George did win the race. You're right. It was a bit, I don't want to say aggressive, but he held his own. That's what I would have done. If you're leading the race, that's what I would have done.
I think it was great from George, that kind of aggressive defensive driving. But also, like, what is lovely is that Kimi is a bit like Max in his first season, a bit like Lewis in his first season. Like, coming in and driving, kind of like getting himself into a muddle and then working it out as he goes. Like he's not got that calm, controlled 6 seasons into Formula One, some risks aren't worth taking mindset. He's got just like a balls out, let's just make this happen.
Yeah, but then,
get this overtake.
This is exactly what I was watching him, and I walked down to turn 1, 2, 3, and then later on I walked down to the last chicane before the hairpin where they go under the bridge, and I was watching him down there. He is very good. He is very good for someone who's done 1.3 seasons of Formula One or whatever he's at now.
What are you seeing that makes you realise he's very good? Like what?
Just you can see how much he's got the car on the limit. You can see that there's just, I mean, it's very fast when you watch it. But you can just see where he brakes, how he's got the car on the limit, the way that the car moves, how precise he is, how consistent he is in that precision of line. He's constantly doing the same thing. He's just very, very good for somebody who has so little experience in the car. So fast forward to what you've just said, to now it's a guy with 6 years of experience of Formula One when he's at his peak, and I think that we have a generational talent. I really do think he's that good.
Did you think that before this season started?
Yes. I thought it when he was in the junior formula.
A generational talent?
Yeah, what did I say?
Yeah, generational talent.
Oh,
yeah.
generational talent.
Yeah, I'm just confirming that's what I think he is.
You corrected me.
Is there not, though, a job for either Toto Wolff to do or for his race engineer to do, which is like, you've driven like this until now, but you now have a 43-point lead in the championship. You now need to drive a little bit differently. You now need to take less risks. You need to drive like you're thinking about the title, not thinking about the win of the race win.
No.
Is it a little bit like we're 3-0 up at halftime, let's defend,
Yes.
and then lose 4-3?
Yeah, totally.
You think that's what could happen?
Well, 43 points is 2 races, isn't it?
And
Not even 2 sprint
Yeah,
weekends.
but only twice in the history of F1 has anyone ever overcome that gap to win the world title.
what if the next failure is on
Twice.
Kimi's side?
Yeah.
Then you got a massive swing.
Correct.
So
They've had one failure. How many races have we had? Not many. Already
6.
have a failure.
Yeah.
Right? You have another
Very
one.
true.
And if it's on Kimi's side,
And what about...
and now you're driving defensively or not as aggressively.
It's a really good point, because the amount of retirements in the actual race, there was a lot of retirements in that race, right? I'm kind of watching him going, this is like highly anomalous. Probably, I mean, when I was up and down the pit lane chatting with people, a lot of people have brought upgrades. A lot of people are pushing like this, right? And there's 2 points that come out of that, I think, right? So you look at the top teams, and you look at the gap back to the midfield in the race, it was enormous.
Yeah.
It was totally enormous. Like, without the safety cars, the top cars would have finished a minute ahead of everybody else.
What I love is Otmar has literally got the stats up on it.
I'm just looking.
You've got the timings up on his phone.
Yeah,
So
well, it's safety car.
Norris retired.
Yeah.
Lando, Perez,
Yeah.
Russell, who we're talking about, Alonso, Albon, and Lindblad.
Yeah.
So it's significant for...
But I like what you're saying, though, that actually Ferrari and Mercedes, take McLaren out of it because they had a bad weekend, they pretty much lapped the entire grid.
They would have done without safety cars. And now that's because everyone is pushing so hard, right? But because everybody is pushing so hard, top teams with capability, they can produce a gap like that. But also, everybody's taking risks.
Four cars on the lead lap.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Same, right?
4 cars.
So that was...
Antonelli, Hamilton, Verstappen, and Leclerc.
Yeah. Shit. You see all the
Yep.
all the top insight and stats are right here in this performance. Just from watching from the side.
So what does that tell us about the rest of this season if you've now got 3 teams, including Red Bull, that are lapping the entire field in one Grand Prix?
Four
And,
teams.
and Lewis was 10.7 seconds behind in second place from Antonelli.
Yeah.
So the upgrade worked.
10.7 seconds behind.
Antonelli.
And how long was that last stint after there was a safety car? I can't remember. Was it?
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
George's safety car. So it was only a short stint, right?
Yeah. George retired on lap 39.
Okay, it wasn't a short stint.
Half the race.
Probably half the
Yeah,
race.
half the race.
Ish.
But I'm
So
sure there
that
was another one.
10.7 could have been 20, right?
Yeah.
So
if you had the whole race.
Because I see everyone now going, oh, George is in a world of trouble. He'll be panicking. The title's over. It's Kimi's to lose. Both of you are sitting here saying that, like,
it's not. There's a
we
lot
aren't
of
even
racing
close.
left. No. A lot of racing left.
Well, you remember last year when the two McLarens, so Oscar was away up the road, wasn't he? And where was it at the Dutch Grand Prix that Lando had a failure with the car?
Yeah.
Was that in Zandvoort? And then Oscar made an even bigger lead, and it looked completely insurmountable.
Well, and that was later in the season.
Oh, much later in the season. It was after summer.
And Max didn't win the title, obviously, but he overcame a deficit of over
look where he came from.
Over 100
exactly.
points.
Yeah.
Exactly. And had they kept Sergio, like I said before, he would have won the title.
So it's not over at all. It's far, far from over. And I don't think. I mean, George, he's a seasoned professional and a very strong athlete. If he's thinking like that, then which he won't be, he doesn't deserve to win the title. If he's already thinking it's insurmountable, it's not. It's easy.
But how important is what happens in Monaco for George?
It's all important, right?
Yeah, they're all important. But that you bring up a good point. Let's see what happens at Monaco.
That's the end of that conversation.
Yeah. You want to talk about anything else?
No, I think that's us.
That's it.
That's the end of the app.
All right. Very
Is
good.
it?
Thank you.
No, it isn't.
Do I get the same
no,
money?
It isn't. I am interested, though, in whether you would just keep everything the same, both from a race engineer's perspective and a team principal perspective. Do you just keep everything the same at Mercedes? Because at the moment, particularly for Kimi Antonelli, things look great in terms of points, but also George is driving brilliantly and dominating weekends like he did this weekend, even if he doesn't win.
So for me, from a team principal's perspective, I would reiterate the fact that it's a team sport, and we first and foremost want to win the Constructors' Championship. So close racing is great, but don't take each other out because it'll have an impact on the Constructors' Championship. And that's where the money comes from. And apart from that, let them race and let the better of the two drivers win the Drivers' Championship. But don't make the team worse off to make yourself better off. Get rid of that selfishness. And you just have to reiterate that because once a helmet goes on, you have no control. They have full control.
Rules of engagement.
Yeah.
Just have clear rules of engagement.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Otmar's right. Like, the team has to come first. I don't think you wouldn't, as long as you've got decent people on either side of the garage as well. You're asking about race engineers and engineers that are particularly linked to the car. As long as they are decent people and they work for the team and not for themselves, even though all the drivers are always inclined just to, want to win the Drivers' World Championship, even if most drivers I've ever worked with, and this is right, by the way, they would rather win the World Championship, the Drivers' World Championship,
than the constructors.
Constructors, and even if that meant that the team lost the constructors, but they won the Drivers' World Championships, they'd still take that decision. But every other woman and man in that team should not be thinking like that. They should be thinking about, okay, how can I optimize my car's position, right? Because that will have the best outcome for the team. Not how can I optimize my position and screw the other guy over at the same time.
I used to tell the drivers they're one of 1,200 employees, and the other 1,200 care about the Constructors' Championship, not about the drivers. You're only one. And there's about 1,200. The big teams have about 1,200 employees now, and they're all pushing for the Constructors' World Championship. All the aero guys, the aero work that goes in, the powertrain people, they don't care which driver, apart from if you're at Ferrari. They care more about.
Is that true?
It is true. The Drivers' World Championship.
No, they do. No, of course, the Drivers' World Championship is because that's the one that everybody talks about, right? Who can remember the last 10 years of Constructor World Championship or Constructor World Champions if it didn't coincide with the drivers? So nobody really remembers that, but it's just so important to the teams. But Ferrari, there is this special myth about they almost carry I would call it like an external perception of the World Championships. Inside Formula One, it's all about the constructors. Outside to the fans, it's all about the World Championships. In Ferrari, it's a bit more of a mix. They do very much covet the Drivers' World Championship, but they also quite like winning the constructors and the cash and the accolades that comes with it.
I wonder though if Toto Wolff needs to say something to the drivers, or will say something to the drivers though this week, because it felt like with Kimi kicking off on the radio, Toto telling him, "That's 4 times now, Kimi.
Yeah,
we have this conversation separately."
Focus on making your car go faster.
But it feels like there needs to be a conversation, right? Because it definitely feels as well like something changed this weekend. This went from friendly, let's see who wins, to like proper gloves off. And I think in a team you have to sense
in both
that.
the races, the sprint race, and there's a little ding dong in the main race too.
What would you do if you were the boss this week?
Like I said, get them together and reiterate the importance of don't make the team worse off to make yourself better off. But apart from that, and I think Rob's right, rules of engagement, which should have been set at the beginning of the year, actually. Mm-hmm. You don't start changing rules of engagement mid-season when things are changing.
And what have you both seen in terms of rules of engagement that are effective? Like, what do drivers really understand?
So the things I used to do to kind of protect the team's position over a driver's position, last 4 laps, you're not overtaking. Stay where you are. Because if one goes ahead of the other, from a team perspective, you score the same points. The only time we allow to overtake is if we weren't 1-2 and one guy had a better chance of catching whoever was ahead than you. And if he couldn't catch whoever was ahead, you swap back.
You got to give it back. Yeah,
you got to give it back. So just those types of things we would agree early on. Yeah. And then I would always let them race as long as they didn't come together.
Exactly. It's just basic stuff, isn't it? You know what I mean? But you do have to reiterate it. And then there's some like edge cases. But I think as long as it's clear to everyone, as long as it's fair, like if your rules of engagement are that driver A always comes out better than driver B, then you're just going to have problems within the team. As long as the rules of engagement are fair to both drivers,
and
you
applied
don't
fairly,
by the team, and you don't interfere with the racing, I think it's fine. And but what I would say is like the rules of engagement at Williams, where we had less chance of winning, were very much different to the rules of engagement at Ferrari when we were in a period where we were winning all the time. So, you know, like Otmar's point there, like last 4 laps of the race, I can remember being in situations at Williams where we were on pole or we were in a position where we could have possibly won the race. And that's quite a precious moment for that team, right? It's the number of points that it brings and therefore the Constructors' Championship at the end, but also the prestige with all of your partners and the rest of the paddock that you've won a Formula One race. So therefore you have to have much tighter controls around the rules of engagement. Whereas in a team that is much more used to winning, you know, where you're in with a chance of winning every weekend, you probably have less tight controls like the last 4 laps or even the last 10 laps or whatever that you're not allowed to swap positions. You probably just let them race until the end.
Yeah, where points are more meaningful for where you finish in the Constructors' Championship, those rules of engagement are tighter.
Yeah.
You know, if it looks like you're going to win it anyway, which for me, gun to my head at 3 a.m., I'm going to say Mercedes are going to win this year.
Yep.
Right? Then you're a little bit different with your drivers.
Did you ever have a time where a driver knew the rules of engagement and ignored them?
Yeah. Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
Would you give us a...
Oh, yeah, when they used to run into each other, Sergio and Esteban. Lap 1, Singapore, where else were we? Baku, Spa, all over the place. And we used to qualify well. You know, we're running 4th and 5th, and they run into each other. That wasn't part of the rules of engagement. Well, they ignored them.
And were you on the radio at that point, or did you wait till after the race?
No,
and
after.
Just wait till everything calmed down?
Yeah, after the race.
And would you get the drivers together all the time?
In the office, driver and engineer.
Come on, and give us what happened in that conversation.
My office.
Finger waving.
Yeah, a lot of finger waving. A lot of, you know, this is what I've done for you. You know, at Force India, we didn't have 1,000 people, but we had 400.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say there's 400 people working really hard for you, and you do this.
Yeah.
Be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
you do it again, and we're going to cut your gearbox seal. You're moving back 5 places because the team's going to be better off than you crashing into them. Even if we go back 5 places at the start, we're still better off.
Yeah.
And why did you want the engineer in there as well?
They're a team. And the engineer would also reiterate what the boss just said.
Mm-hmm.
Because they then go off and talk and, you have those separate conversations.
Yep. Yeah. No,
everyone's got to read off the same hymn sheet.
Yeah. That is very true, and you want all of the team aligned. Like I said, the drivers are never going to be aligned. Like you can get, like when I was at Williams, and you had to talk to both drivers about being naughty boys at times. They're never going to think, oh yeah, I'm going to take all that on board, and I'm going to now repeat that religiously back for the rest of my life. They're just going to say, fuck you, you know what I mean? I just want to win the next race.
Exactly. They don't say that, but you could tell.
That's in their eyes.
And who at Williams did you have to spend most of your time having that conversation with from a driver perspective?
No, I think my first years at Williams, it was Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas. And they were both good as gold. I mean, only when we got at the sharp end in 14 and 15 and we were in positions to win races did they get a little bit naughty with each other.
What happened?
Nothing. They just didn't want to move out the way, or they didn't want to hold position. Like I remember at the start of the 15 British Grand Prix, I think it was, and we were leading 1-2. I think we got away. We might have been on pole anyway. We were leading 1-2. And of course, in that situation, it's exactly what Otmar said. If that was Ferrari some years before, where you're in with a chance of 1-2 at every race, you would be in that situation, right? Do what you want, you know what I mean? Within reason. Don't let the guys behind you catch up because you're fighting so hard, and don't hit each other. But apart from that, go and race. You're 2 professional racing drivers. In that situation, we wanted them to hold station, and I can't remember which one was in front. Oh, Felipe was in front and Valtteri was behind. But he kept trying to have a go, but then he didn't. He kind of held station, and then that all got a bit antsy after the race, but nothing major. But I can remember in Ferrari between Michael and Rubens, we used to have much more of a ding dong. That was quite funny, but that was the best one. The best one ever was this one. So what year did we go to the US? And it was when we used to run Indy the wrong way round. And Michelin teams couldn't race.
Yeah, was
05, 06, was it?
Was it 05?
I think it was before that.
Was it?
05, wasn't 05 the year when no one 6 cars competed?
Yeah, that was it.
Was that 05?
Yeah, I think it was 05.
Dave Freeman won all the money.
Yeah, that's right.
Who's Dave Freeman?
He was our chef.
Yeah.
He bet that there would only be 6 finishers.
He bet on Jordan.
He bet on Tiago Montero being on the podium.
That's right.
All sorts of obscure things, and he got great odds.
So there was us.
2005.
So there was us, and the only other teams in it were Jordan, which was on the downside of its glory years at that point.
And Minardi.
And Minardi.
Yeah.
So, of course, it was going to be kind of a cancer for Ferrari.
Well, it was going to be a Jordan on
the podium, yeah.
On the podium, and that was Tiago.
The gaps between all 3 of those teams was huge, right? So then we were like...
This was when we had to qualify with fuel, remember?
2005, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember, because all the Michelin runners agreed, well, for safety reasons, not to run. And I remember Toyota knowing they weren't going to run the race, and they took all the fuel out so they could be on pole.
Did they really?
Yeah. You remember that? They were 1-2, and then they pulled in.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Wow. Everyone pulled in at the end of the formation.
Everyone pulled in, but they were on pole because they took all the fuel out.
So
I guess we should have all taken the fuel out.
We did I think we just experimented between a 2 and a 3 stop, and we used it as kind of like a test. I mean, even though we come 1-2, we used it as a test. But then what you don't take into account, and we had all of these things that we wanted to test during the race, and we were going to do this and we were going to do that, and there was no Parc Fermé back then. But what you don't take into account is you've got these 2 highly competitive animals in the car who, as soon as the lights went out, went at it, because each one wants to win. We were like, oh yeah, we kind of forgot about this. And then I think it was Rubens did the 3, and Michael did the 2, or it might have been the other way around. But anyway, after the last pit stop, Michael come out in front, I think. Or he might have been behind and then he passed him, and then there was just almighty ding-dong on track with them each riding up the curves and riding each other off. So it was nearly a Jordan 1-2. I can remember at the end, Ross Brawn being quite animated with both drivers, I think.
What was your role in that conversation?
Nothing. I just
stand on the side and smile.
Yeah, stood on the side and enjoyed the show.
So do they need to have any conversation at the moment about prioritising Kimi Antonelli with a 43-point gap?
No.
And fast cars all around?
No. Remember, for them, it's all about the constructors. Do they care if it's Kimi or George?
I don't think so.
I think you start prioritizing if whoever's in third now gets closer. Mm-hmm. Then you might want to prioritize, but not now. Who's third in the Drivers' Championship? Is it Lando?
No.
I don't even know.
Let's have a look.
Because Lewis is a couple points behind Leclerc.
Is he? Yes, he must be behind.
Yeah,
is that all he is now?
Leclerc is third, yeah.
Right. And
Where's Lewis?
75 points. Lewis is 3 behind on 72.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fourth.
And then Lando's fourth on 58. They're not far behind George at all, though, the Ferraris.
No, but I mean, it would that picture would look very, very different, wouldn't it?
Without the failure.
Without the failure.
Yeah.
So I think, you can't dwell too much on what you can't control.
What was Lando's failure?
I'm not sure. We really should know.
Don't know, but there was a lot of mechanical failures.
Failure, a gearbox.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not power unit.
No, gearbox failure. Well, talking of Lando, let's talk about McLaren. What did you both think of them starting the race on the Inters?
Interesting.
Which is code for?
Mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. When usually, so out of 22 cars, say 12 are on Inters and 10 are on slicks. Then you can say, it's 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. But when 4 are on Inters and the rest are on slicks, mistake.
Yeah.
My first thought was, when I saw it, maybe it's going to start raining and they have better information than the rest of them. And it's going to rain in 3-4 laps and they're going to be out on Inters not having to come in. That was my first thought. Maybe that's what they were trying to predict. But that never happened.
Yeah, but I think you roll those dice when you are like
18th and 22nd.
Right? Honestly, how many times have you seen, and I've been involved.
You're in a quick car, you're up there. You should be doing what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, just do what everybody else. How many times have you seen when like a dice roll like that come off and you look like a hero at the end of it? Like, I've been party in the middle of decisions when we fit the wrong tyres for the wrong conditions.
Or for the conditions that you have now.
Yeah. And I think that you've just got to always, like, number one rule is just have a look at the track, right? Formula One is a technology sport. It is driven by technology. It is, it is the most technologically advanced sport in the world in terms of simulation, analytics, like the technology of the cars, the chassis, gearboxes, engines. Sometimes you just have to put your hand out and see whether it's raining.
Yeah. But when they made the call, it was
track.
a wet track, though, at that moment, 5 minutes before the start of the race.
But everybody else, 80% of them, didn't think it was as wet as for Inters, which is why I was thinking maybe they know something.
Yeah.
Like, was Aki Ohaga at Jordan when you were there?
No. Oh, yeah, he was.
Chief designer.
Akio, yeah.
Akio used to have like this little June bug in a old Matchbox. And if the June bug was on its back, that meant it was going to rain. And if it wasn't raining. So we used to have...
Sorry.
Is this for real?
Yeah. So we used to have...
Was it dead?
No.
Wait, before the race, he'd get his Matchbox out and be like,
Yeah.
he's on his back, guys.
It's on his back.
Get the Inters out.
The rain's coming.
Get the Inters out. What if the bug went onto his back midway through the race? Like, you just called the driver in.
Was the bug alive?
Yes.
How old was this
alive?
bug? Did he have it like throughout the duration? Because I never
for the
saw
whole
it.
season.
No way. What was he feeding it?
So we would have Media France. That's who we had. Media Chance.
Meteo France.
Meteo Chance.
Meteo Chance, yeah.
Meteo Chance.
Right. So you'd have Meteo Chance information and Akio Haga information. And then the two of them together, you would kind of...
Who was more accurate?
Akio's bug.
Well, Akio, yeah.
Honestly.
Yes.
If Aki had closed his eyes and threw a dart into a dart room, he would have been more accurate.
Bug.
Meteo Chance.
Called it right.
And we're on pole when it was really, really wet and a new surface. Remember when we went to Turkey?
Yeah.
And they had just resurfaced the track.
That was when who did
Lance Stroll.
Yeah, Lance won, didn't he?
He didn't win. He was on pole.
Oh, he was on pole, and was he second? Third?
No, I'll tell you what happened. So he's on pole, huge lead. I can't remember. 18-second lead. He was running away with the race. Unbeknownst to us, he goes off. Goes over a curb, comes back on, says nothing. And we don't know. When he went off, one of the strakes underneath the front wing got lodged in between all the other strakes, as opposed to just falling off. So now, front wing downforce, gone. We start graining the front tires, understeer graining. And we just thought it was regular graining. But he didn't tell us he went off. So we call him in for new tires, right? Still leading.
Yeah.
Comes in, new tires, 4 or 5 laps, pretty good. Start graining again. Had we known our lead was big enough to change the front wing, right? 12 seconds, 14 seconds for a front wing change.
Yeah.
We had an 18-second lead, but we didn't know.
Why did he not tell you?
And he went backwards. I don't know. Maybe he thought it wasn't relevant. Yeah.
Did you speak to him after and say, mate, tell us everything that goes on?
And here's the other thing. The crazy thing is we could see it in the data, right?
Did you ask him? Did you tell him, though, that we're losing front downforce?
No, we didn't believe the data because it was so wet.
There you go. Always believe the data.
It was so wet. So we thought that all the little tubes were full of water.
What?
You know, the little pressure taps.
Yeah.
We thought we were full of water, so we didn't believe the data.
But let's go back to McLaren.
Yeah. What's the conversation that would have happened after that?
Well, I think they are. I mean, just go back to what I said, like put your hand out and wait for the rain or see if it is raining before you start fitting wet tyres. I was down at turn 1 at that point because I just kind of wandered down there and I wanted to see it. And it actually looked reasonably dry. Now, the little bit of driver conversations that you could hear on the radio, they were all saying, yeah, I think it's pretty much dry, or if it's not dry now on the formation lap, it will be by the time we get.
Yeah, but the laps to the grid, right? You should figure that out.
Yeah, sure. That's what I was talking about, the laps to the grid.
Yeah.
Laps to the grid was it's pretty much dry, or if it's not, like some of the conversations where it's not quite dry, but it will be in another like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's why I thought they were trying to predict what's going to happen in 10 laps time. It's going to rain again.
Yeah.
Because everyone else got it right.
So, but maybe they were stood just on the grid and maybe both drivers had got themselves, sometimes you can get this collective decision. You can get this group think. That sometimes happens.
Yeah, group wrong think,
where you get like somebody who might be a little bit dominant in that group, kind of has an opinion, and then other people might follow. And by the end of it, I've been in situations like that where you think, am I the idiot here? You know?
Yeah, and then you shut up. You think, oh, they got to be right.
Yeah, because there's.
Would they have involved the driver in that decision?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, the driver has a huge say because the
drivers went with yes, though. Yeah, so someone's pretty convincing.
Those drivers are the only ones that know what's happening on the entire track.
Yep.
You know what's happening in the pit lane. That's it.
But that makes you think that maybe someone in the team was really keen on this, for both drivers to go with it. The fact they both were kind of convinced to go for Inters.
That groupthink thing, the chief engineer does communicate what the other driver's saying through the engineer. Mm-hmm. So if one driver says intermediates, the other driver knows what that driver was saying. And you could have
groupthink. But also, like, the wrong. It may be the wrong person influencing the decision. One thing you can say about McLaren
or
is
they didn't have the right June bug.
Or they didn't have the right June bug. It's either the June bug. So Gary Anderson, who used to be my boss at Jordan back in the day,
Those ones.
he used to say it was always his was it his right knee or his left knee? And when that started to like seize up, then he knew that the rain was coming.
Yeah.
All these millions of pounds worth of technology in cars, and you've got June bugs and Gary Anderson's arthritis deciding whether it's going to be a wet or dry race. The only thing I thought watching at home is there was like 3 formation laps because of various things going on. Why not just realise you've made a mistake and get that car in during one of those formation laps and change them and start in the pit lane?
Good. That is a good question. I don't know. I mean, they're a good team. They'll learn by it.
Yeah,
It was you can't look back on it and say it wasn't anything other than a mistake.
Don't you have to question the strategy decisions there? Don't you look at last season and think the engineers won you that title, not the strategists?
Well, this is where. Well, I mean, it's a team that wins you titles, not just even if you've got yin and yang of negative. Some people are, or some groups are not quite as performant as others. Everybody's important. But I think that you've got to look at your processes. You've got to look to see whether or not you've got the right people making those decisions. I know that there are teams like up and down the pit lane, and I'm not going to mention them because it would be, but front-running teams because it would be unfair, where there's too much central control of what both cars are doing. And that would also apply to the tyres, what tyres they're allowed to put on, when they're allowed to leave the garage. And I don't think Formula One should ever work like that. You should, Formula One, you employ good people, you empower them to do their job.
And that's what McLaren might have an issue with.
I can't tell you that. I'm not referring to McLaren here when I'm talking about teams that have too much central control in terms of their engineering function. But I do think that McLaren are a good team that they will quite often come out and say, we made a mistake, we messed that up, and then they can. I would hope that they can learn from it in terms of processes.
We'll have other wet races.
Is what? Sorry,
I said we'll have other wet races this year. I just don't know if we'll have them where it's not on the knife's edge, but whether it's a 50-50 call. Although this wasn't a 50-50
Do you reckon it would have been any different if Zach Brown had been on the pit wall and not at Indy?
I don't know. I don't know how much.
No?
Yeah, I doubt that's a Zach Brown decision.
If the CEO of a Formula One team or of a group is making decisions about what tyres to put on,
he'd share his thoughts though, wouldn't he? He might just have been the one to go, "Are you sure?"
Yeah, I would have.
you can do that.
I would have definitely said, "Are we sure about this?"
Yeah.
I do want to talk to you both about Lewis Hamilton. I had a massive smile on my face watching him race in that Grand Prix. You know what I loved?
He was
the
good.
most? The way he went and lifted up Kimi Antonelli. Did you see that? At the end, Kimi's there, just got out of the car at the end of the race. Lewis, big beaming smile on his face, lifts up Kimi. It's like, Lewis looked like he had a freedom I've not seen in a while.
He was smiling all weekend. He was quick. He was quicker than Leclerc. He likes it around there.
Yeah, he always brings something special. He's always brought something special around Montreal. He was quicker than Charles. That got inside Charles's head, because all of a sudden he started to claim that he'd had the worst weekend of his career in Formula One, stuff like that. So clearly, if I think if Lewis had been 3 places further back, I wouldn't have thought that Charles would have referred to his weekend as being the worst weekend of his career. So Lewis, I don't know about this whole simulator thing. So he was in the media, and I spoke to a couple of guys there who kind of shrugged their shoulders when I asked about it. He said that he refused to go and do his work on the simulator pre-Canada, and that's what gave him the freedom, because he thinks that he had a notion that the simulator was perhaps like dragging him off into directions that he didn't like. So he said, I'm not going to do it this time. And then, of course, he has a sample of one, and all of a sudden it's statistically true that if you don't go on the simulator, you're on the podium.
And it's not a controlled experiment.
No.
Had I gone on the simulator,
Correct.
Would I have won the race?
Yeah.
Not saying you would, but it's not a controlled experiment.
Yeah.
You can't quite.
I would have thought also with the way that the energy is being deployed now, simulator's almost more important to work out how to use your energy over a lap and over a Grand Prix.
It is. It is. I was talking to one of the Alpine engineers, and it dawned on me how sensitive what you do and how you manage the powertrain is now compared to what it used to be.
Oh, it's massive.
It's massive.
All
it's
of them.
Huge.
Everyone you talk to up and down the pit lane, it's
out laps and qualifying.
huge.
Somebody gets in front of you. You don't harvest at the right time.
Yeah.
You're screwed. All that stuff.
very, very sensitive. It's very, very critical in terms of management. So yeah, the simulator is a help, but you also need all of exactly what you just said, Otmar. Like, you can't have, like, you can rehearse a certain situation as much as you want, but it's the edge cases that catch you out. So you need to have a really good understanding when, you're not quite in the position on an out lap, or you're not harvesting as much by that point in the lap. It's really, really complex and really, really critical. It's become like the major thing that they think about. And I'll tell you something that I've noticed as well is if you look at from sprint qualifying to real qualifying, don't know if I'm allowed to call it that, but I just have, from sprint qualifying to the actual qualifying, there's always a change around this year, right? There's always quite a lot of movement between those two qualifyings. If
People
you take
are
last
learning.
year, yeah, like sprint qualifying pretty much was the same as your qualifying. There's a lot of learning that goes on during
Still.
the weekend. So again, it comes back to what we talk about all the time. This rule set is very, very early stages, and we'll see a lot of changes before the end of the year.
We've got a bunch of questions in from our audience as well. Thank you so much for getting in touch with us. Just reach out on YouTube or Instagram, wherever you like. Nurse,
Friends reunited.
always. MySpace.
I'm
is
getting
always
it.
Great.
I'm getting that. I'm
what?
getting MySpace.
Yeah.
I'm going down to Curry's tomorrow to pick it up. There are other electronics outfits.
Idiot. Nurse Bronny on YouTube says Bono seems to be the clear champion so far this season. He led both Lewis and now Kimi to success. Is he the best race engineer on the grid, Rob?
There's lots of good race engineers on the grid. Pete is very good. I used to work with Pete, or Bono, as his stage name is. We worked together when we were at Jordan. And then I think he went off to Honda. And Honda then became lots of other different iterations. He's a very good engineer. He's very good. Bono is a really good people person, and had a good knack of understanding the car as well. So yes, he did have a lot of success with Lewis. Lewis is also a very good driver, so we shouldn't take anything away from that.
Who engineered Rosberg when he won it? Wasn't Bono?
No, it wasn't Bono.
Was that Ricky?
No, it wasn't Ricky. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. I've forgotten it now. Tall guy, nice guy.
I think it works well for us to keep asking questions we don't know the answer to.
Yeah.
It's good for the audience to realise how little we do know. Tony Ross.
Tony Ross. It
Ross,
was Tony Ross. And Tony Ross was at Williams when in the era that that shirt is from. So I would say
The only
So
reason
that's when he would have worked with Nico then, and then went with him to Mercedes.
Oh yeah, that is right.
Yeah.
That is 100% right. How did you know that?
Well, I knew that
Yes.
Nico drove.
You just guessed.
Yeah.
That's right.
But it's a good guess. The only reason I bring it up is that Bono didn't always win with Lewis.
Correct.
There was an engineer that also won with and beat Bono. Although Bono's a great engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question here from Keith Spencer 4554, also on YouTube. I divide drivers into categories, Otmar. Generational, Max, Lewis, Alonso. Elite, Lando, Leclerc, Piastri, Russell, Sainz. Good, Albon, Kimi, Gasly, Behrman. Then journeyman. He hasn't named the journeyman.
The rest.
Yeah, Kimi hasn't emerged quickly enough for me to call him generational. What do you think?
What do you mean hasn't emerged quickly enough?
Done it pretty bloody quickly.
How much quicker
winning
can you
races.
emerge?
Just won
winning
the last
races
4
in your
races.
I mean, Lewis emerged very quickly, right? His rookie year, winning races.
But that car couldn't have won the title last season, could
No.
it? The Mercedes, like.
So
No.
now he's in the best car. George is really good, and in your second year to be beating George,
He's pretty good.
people underestimate how good George really is.
Yeah.
Did George beat Lewis?
Yes.
Okay.
Consistently in the last year.
Yeah.
And
So,
And he
I
said
don't know.
Lewis was a generational talent, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And George beat him, and now Kimi's
there or thereabouts beating him in his with 1.25 years of Formula One.
Yeah.
Not the 6 years.
Transitive property comes to
Wasn't quick enough for Keith Spencer 4554.
Sorry, Keith. How fast does you need to be?
Well, he would have done it a lot quicker.
Can we have Keith's calibration of how fast you need to start winning races?
Keith, let us know how quick does it need to be
It doesn't need to be like
to become generational.
to become generational.
I think it's the first weekend. I think it's Melbourne. I think it's Melbourne.
Melbourne
You're not winning in
University.
Melbourne, you're out.
Yeah. Gents, thank you very much indeed. That is our review of the Canadian Grand Prix. Any other points you wanted to make about that? Actually, before we wrap up, what was the general feeling in Canada about the racing? Because it felt close, it felt wheel to wheel. I loved what we saw with Kimi and George. I could have watched that for another whole Grand Prix.
Yeah, so better than previous races from a racing
It's not a
perspective.
glowing endorsement.
Yeah. No, but it was better. I mean, some of the other previous races, to the untrained eye, you go, oh, this is great racing. No, it's not. It's because my battery's depleted and this guy's going by. Yeah. We didn't see a lot of that.
It's much better.
So that's why I say much better than previous races.
It's much better. And I spent some time in the paddock club.
Of course you did. You've changed.
Only a little bit of time.
I didn't even go up there.
I wasn't constantly hanging around there.
Drinking champagne.
But the paddock club, for as you know, for the uninitiated, is where the I don't want to call them fans, the guests go, the corporate guests.
They're definitely not the fans.
Yeah, they're definitely not the fans. But they were, every time I went up there and talked to people, they were all very excited about the racing. I think the Canadian fans in general are quite well versed and understand Formula One.
Yeah, been there a long time. They love it.
A long time. Yeah, exactly.
Sells out every year.
Yeah, but they were very excited. Oh, I'll tell you one thing. What I was blown away by, how busy the city was. Did you get that?
Yeah. Traffic as well.
You have never seen the city this busy.
Yeah.
Really?
Formula One is like off the charts popular now.
Yeah.
It was, you couldn't literally, traffic everywhere, like all the restaurants full, first world problems.
Yeah.
All the bars full, first world problems.
Yeah. I'm sure you still found somewhere to get a drink.
I did.
Good. We're going to finish with one joke each this week. What are you bringing to the table?
I was in New York on my way there. I flew to New York, then went to Indy 500 qualifying, and then back to Montreal. And when I was in New York, I think on the 19th, there was a car exploded near Wall Street, where the Bull is. Did you see that? I don't know what happened, but it reminded me of a time where I was in Marseille in south of France, and similar thing, but a cheese factory exploded. Debris went everywhere.
Hey! I love your jokes because I never know whether you're just actually launching into another story or whether this is actually a joke. Debris everywhere.
Debris everywhere.
How do you know when a joke becomes a dad joke?
Because the dad tells it.
No. It becomes apparent.
See, with your ones, I always have to stop for a bit.
Because they're clever.
And
They're
work
clever.
it out. They're not clever.
They're sort of,
so highbrow.
yeah. They require an additional bit of, I see what you've done.
See what
The
you've done there.
dyslexic man walked into a bra.
Hey! A horse walks into a bar. Why the long face?
Why the long face? Dyslexic man walks into a bra.
Bra, do you get it? Bra.
But I had to work it out.
B-R-A, not B-A-R.
No, I get it now.
I got a really, really good one. But again, it's 3 nationalities. So how can I?
What do you call a Frenchman in sandals?
See, how can you say that?
Philippe Philop.
What's he called?
Philippe Philop.
This is shite. I fucking want to go home now.
So do we all. And that's the end of the episode. Thank you very much for watching our review of the Canadian Grand Prix here on High Performance Racing. We're back next week with our preview of Monaco.
Ooh, should be good.
Who's going to Monaco? Are you going?
No.
Are you there? Oh, of course you are, yeah.
F2, F3.
That's a hard life. Bring me back a gift.
Tell me what you want.
Okay. Anything.
Okay.
An F2 winner's trophy.
All right. Yeah, we can do that.
Let's go for that.
Or a VAR cap, so you can wear it.
Oh yeah, I'll take a cap.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Van Amersfoort Racing.
Yeah. I'll
What
wear
about a
that.
shirt? I've got a shirt for him.
Oh, I'll give you a VR shirt.
Yeah, I'll take a Van Amer sports shirt and wear that on the show. All right, thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
No, thank you.
I loved it.
Yeah,
as
really
usual.
Lovely. We will do another episode this time next week. High Performance Racing. Please make sure you follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And you can watch us on YouTube as well as listen to us wherever you get your favourite shows from. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Guys.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.
Yeah. Goodbye.
What a fucking great outro.